A lot of the dads that we're working with right now are on that broken side of it, that mending piece of it. And what I'm excited about with the PTA is that you guys have an opportunity to reach some fathers at some early ages, to get them involved in the lives of their children, and then to focus on their strengths and bring them into the PTA format. This is just some quick statistics on the absence of fathers in America. And this was based on a 2017 Census Bureau. And one of the things that, I'm not going to read this verbatim, that type of deal, but just kind of take a moment and see how children who have been raised in homes without their fathers, how they've been impacted by this, they call it kind of father hunger, if you would. Great. All right, so who are these guys that we're talking about that have this amazing impact on the lives of their children? They're the biological fathers, they're the stepfathers, the grandfathers, brothers, uncles, and the male mentors. One of the things that we encourage our dads to do is that being involved, for the most part, when it comes to education and the involvement piece, it's kind of been left up to the moms. But sometimes moms need a break, right? You know, so who better to take on that involvement than the father of that child? So we really encourage the fathers to be involved in all aspects of their children's lives. My wife is a high school teacher, and one of the things that we constantly talk about, that there's almost no father male involvement in the lives of their high school students. They'll come to the sporting events, but other than that, there's no really involvement with them. So we encourage stepfathers, grandfathers, any male person that has an influence on a child to be involved in the lives of their children. This is just some of the positive impacts of father involvement. Just spending time together, the emotional support versus what it leads to later on in life. You know, one of the things that I'm really excited about when it comes to the PTA and that type of deal is that we have an opportunity to get out and reach these dads where they're at. And on our next slide, we'll talk a little bit more about how we need to designate people and dates and time to bring in these fathers to be involved in the lives of their children's education. So here's just some quick strategies on involving dads. Ongoing community recruitment. So what that may be is that as a PTA, when you're developing your agendas and things like that, someone's got to raise their hand and say, hey, don't forget about the dads. We need to reach out for these fathers, that type of deal. And it's not a mass introduction or invitation that we're looking. We're probably going to look at maybe 2 to 3 dads. But one of the things that you bring in when you bring that father in, you use his father network, because most of us dads at these schools, we know each other. Our kids went to the Pasadena fundamental schools. And one of the things that as fathers that I kind of observed, that we always kind of had the hello to each other during car line, being able to communicate and reach out to the dads at those different events, those type of things. And then a lot of dads are in the impression that are kind of shaking off the deadbeat dad type deal. If you have a father who's not living in the home, a residential father, he could be struggling with some things as far as his involvement, that type of deal. I would strongly suggest that we reach out to these fathers, of course, with the mom's permission, in the sense of there's no domestic violence or any type of threats that way, but reach out to those dads. And one of the things that I tell you that in my 24 years of working with fathers is that just by you putting their name on a note or a letter and just recognizing him as being part of that parenting team goes a long way. And then there's activities that specifically are directed towards men. Walk the Kids to School Day, men's health, and that's one of the things that with our collaboration that we're really focusing on, because there's a strong connection between men's health and the health of their children. So it's basically fathers who don't value their own physical health has a negative impact on the health of future health of their children. So being really insightful in that and letting dads know that you have your impact is tremendous when it comes to your children, not just the safety or the education piece, but also how you view health in your own perspective. And then, of course, is the co-parenting piece. 24 years ago, when I started with the Father Services Program, we had to go back and revisit our forms, because a majority of the forms said mother of the baby, mom's name, but there wasn't a lot of inclusion for the fathers. In fact, it was only fathers' names were only brought up when there was some sort of negative attached to it. So being insightful on your forms that you're passing out, your literature, whatever forms that your packets that you're sending out, that is being father friendly, if you would. Then the use of local professional athletes in our communities. When we started out, Tony Dungy was a huge advocate for father involvement, of course, that type of deal, which kind of filtered into the DAS program, the All-Pro DAS program that's in majority of the school systems right now. But also there's other athletes who want to be involved. There's The Rock, which I just recently found out, actually grew up right here in Tampa. So he's open to a lot of different father involvement activities, that type of deal. Another venue I would look into when it comes to including fathers in the PTA would be at these local sporting events. Throughout Pinellas County, we have a lot of youth football events, youth cheerleading, and that type of deal. And this kind of goes back to designate a time, date, and a staff person to go out and just make contact with these dads at these football games. Something that doesn't take 10 or 15 minutes, but just let them know, hey, we're interested in having fathers involved in the PTA. And a lot of times just explaining what the PTA is and how the father can benefit from that. I have a quick video I'm going to pull up and show with you. Let me see how to end that. All right. This is from our JWB website, and it talks about Dad Strong. So it's like a real quick 4-minute video, and then we'll follow up from there.
There's no video showing.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's see. Thank you. All right, let's see if we can find this video here. Can you guys see the Dad Strong, the
yes.
PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see the PowerPoint.
See if we X out of that. Okay. Christina, looks like you may need to share it with me again. Sorry about that.
Sure. No problem. Okay.
Okay.
Should be all set.
All right.
There we go.
Can you guys see it now?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It is a little low. It's a little hard to hear. I don't know if everybody else is having a hard time hearing it, but for me it is.
You're not hearing it?
Yeah, I did. I don't know why it's not. It might be, I wonder if it's just, I did share the sound, but I'm wondering if it's,
Yeah, it is a little hard to hear.
so
Okay.
what I might do is, Reggie, if it's possible, if you can send me the link and I'll email it out.
Will do. Thank you.
Would that be okay? Because I'd love, it is a great video. I've actually seen this on that call we were on. So
Yes.
yeah, I would love to share it with everybody. But yeah, I did do the share all for the sound. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's something I'm doing. I don't know. I'm not very technical either when it comes to
Same here.
I
Same
try,
here.
but
Well, and
sorry.
one of the things is that fathers want to be involved, but we're just trying to figure out what our role will be. And one of the things that Christina and I want to mention to you and the PTA staff is that we just have to start small with this. And over a period of time, those dads will come and they will become more actively involved. But they just need to know that there's an open invitation for them to come out and do those little things. You may just need some dads help setting up or something like that. So give those opportunities to work on those little things and just kind of progress from there. And again, I think once we develop some sort of questionnaire or involvement listing, that you can ask them what are their skills, what can they bring to the table at these different schools, elementary schools, middle schools, that type of deal, and build on their strengths. Because I tell you, once you kind of get it going, it'll snowball into a huge deal in Pinellas County. So that's my quick rundown on fathers and the positive of their involvement. Does anyone have any questions? All right. So a lot of research has shown that the earlier we get dads involved in the lives of their children, from prenatally all the way up to 18 years old, that they're more likely to stay around in the lives of their children and become more actively involved. There's also one of the things that we're telling our dads right now is that research is also showing that the more involved we are as fathers, we're actually living longer. So that's one of the quick research tips for is that kind of deal. And it's basically one of those things that as men, we're not taking any of those risky behaviors anymore because we're connected with the lives of our children. Right. Any other questions or anything?
That's great. You're receiving many compliments in the chat. You may not be able to see it, but everybody's saying that they agree 100% with what you're saying, and they thank you very much for your time this evening.
Great, great, and thank you. And I look forward to working with you, Christina.
Absolutely.
And everyone else with the PTA.
It's been amazing. Just the little bit that we've already worked together, I've loved it. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so we're going to move on a little bit. We have a special guest here this evening from the school board. I say special because she's a friend of mine, but Miss Lisa Kane. So she's going to present to us a little update on how the school board is doing.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just making sure mic was working. Thank you all so much. Thank you for joining us here on the meeting this evening. We really appreciate all of you taking the time to get together this evening, and thank you so much for having me as part of the lineup. I wrote down a couple of things, important things. I wasn't really sure what angle we were looking to talk about, but I'll just open it up for questions in a minute for any information that anyone might want to get. On the school board, we've been doing a lot of things. It's been very busy the last couple of months, as I'm sure you can imagine. Safety and health protocol being the #1 topic of discussion over the past 4 months as we continue to work through the COVID-19 pandemic in our school system. I'm going to circle back around to that in just a minute, but I figured I would jump into a couple other new things that are happening on the board, because I know they're kind of getting lost in translation with all of the debate about masks and about COVID-19 protocol going on with the CDC in the Pinellas County. So a couple of new items that were just discussed this week and are going to be were voted in as policy this past week. We are beginning 2 new magnet programs. In South County, the Lakewood Elementary Center is now a center for the creative arts. The Tarpon Springs Middle School is also being renamed as the Conservatory for Academics and the Arts. I'm very excited about these two ventures. As you all may know, the arts was my platform and I am an arts educator, so it's very exciting to me to see more arts flourishing, especially in this environment as many arts programs are being shut down and funding is being lost for them. It's exciting to see educationally as we move towards utilizing the arts, because I do believe after all of this time spent out of school and through the summer and through this pandemic, students are experiencing a higher volume of depression and emotional conflict, and I really truly believe that this can only help them moving forward. In addition to them, our magnet programs, I'll circle back around. We have been discussing I am one of the alternates for the legislative committee on the school board. So we will be hosting an event with our local delegation in December. We have been meeting over the last month 3 or 4 times to consolidate our legislative platform for the school board, with our number 1 item being the continuation of funding for MyPCS online and hybrid education options. As it stands right now, in case you are unaware, the state emergency order that went into effect in July will end its funding in December. So it's really imperative time frame for us as a school board to continue to ask our legislators and our local delegation to support us moving forward, because we can't rip the hybrid option away mid-year. We want to continue to offer that to students and families who need those choices, because everyone's situation is different. And we led with the idea that each situation is unique. Each situation is going to every single person is going to need to make their own decision. And we wanted to have those options available for people moving forward. And as the new year comes and in second quarter, that's going to continue to be one of our primary focuses. As it stands, at the beginning of the school year, we were roughly at about 60% of our student body of 100,000 students in our county went to brick and mortar, and it was about 40, I want to say maybe 44%. It was give and take there for a while on percentages, but somewhere around those, don't quote me on those numbers, but they're not exact, but they are close, at the beginning of the school year. Second quarter, about a quarter of our online students have decided to go back to brick and mortar, but we're still looking at about a 70-30 shift, with 30% doing the MyPCS hybrid option and about 70% going back to brick and mortar. So there's still quite a big number of students and families requesting to stay with hybrid, or some to even go from brick and mortar to hybrid due to quarantines and orders from the CDC, who's feeling more safe that way. We want to continue to offer that. So our number 1 platform item for our legislative committee is to ask our delegation to continue to fund this option so we can continue it through 2021, possibly into 2022 school year. The other item that's been kind of a hot ticket item, I guess, over the last couple of months is the local mask order. I've received a lot of emails from a lot of parents for or against, but one of the questions that I felt was important to address, and we did discuss this past Tuesday, we had our board meeting 2 days ago, was that I'm getting a lot of questions about what agency are we listening to in order to either make these mandates or decide on these mandates. People are saying we're an independent entity and we should therefore be making an independent choice. There are people who believe that option, and there are others who are saying, absolutely, please listen to what the CDC is saying and what Dr. Cho is saying. And so this has been a kind of a back and forth. Everyone has their own viewpoint, but I will say from a board perspective, we've been trying to take all of those different pieces of advice into account and try to make the best option across the board for everyone, regardless of their opinion politically on the matter. And I know we were, people were accusing us of making political decisions, but I really do believe that those of us on the board are trying to be as fair and equitable as possible across all party lines and situations. And so we've been trying to not only uphold and support our local county commission, but listen to advice coming to us from Dr. Cho and the Pinellas CDC and what their numbers look like, as well as the state. And right now they are somewhat conflicting, as most people know, but we are doing our best to continue forward in making the best possible option that we can until we get enough people or enough recommendations from medical community to tell us to lift those policies that are in place. What I try to tell everybody is, and I know everyone on the board feels the same, we're educators. We are not in the medical field. And so we want to do our best in listening to the professionals in their field and making these decisions, and not to deviate too far from them because they're in that position because they have worked to be in that position and they are professionals in their field. So we're trying to listen to our delegation of medical professionals that have come together. We have the leaders from Johns Hopkins of infectious disease, one of the lead doctors from Baycare's pediatric unit, as well as Dr. Cho from the Pinellas CDC, and them three, as well as Dr. Grego, have been working together. So we've been listening to their advice on what we should do in schools and also about quarantines for different classrooms or partial quarantines. And I know those have seemed to have an uptick in the last few weeks from what I've been looking at every day. And so I think that this is going to continue to be a hot ticket item. We are rediscussing the matter next Tuesday at our board workshop. We'll be having the medical team come in and discuss this with us one-on-one so we can ask more specific questions. And I'm trying to include as many parental questions that I get as possible. I'm receiving anywhere from 50 to 100 emails a day from parents across the district, and I am reading them. Even if I don't get right back to them, I am reading them and taking all of those opinions into consideration and raising those questions to the professionals that we're in front of as well, because I also share many of the concerns of my parents. As some of you know, I have 4 children in the school system, and we are experiencing so many of the same things as everyone else. So it's not perfect, but my PCS continues to evolve. I'm hoping as we move forward, we can fix some of the issues with it. I've heard a lot of parents experiencing what I've been experiencing, which is either internet outages with their My PCS, portal communication issues between Canvas and Focus. That's another thing I've heard from many parents and I've experienced myself. So I'm going to be raising those as well with curriculum and learning and hopefully finding some kind of a solution. I wasn't really sure what else you may want me to touch on. So if I'm going to open up for questions, if anyone has any questions and would like me to speak on something specific I didn't touch on, we'll open it up.
Christina, you are muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Does anyone have any questions? I apologize.
I have a question about the sibling and the quarantine. I don't know if you have anything to do with that or any insight in that. I do have 2 kids in the same school. We haven't come across it yet, but I know multiple families have. Some kids, one child will be quarantined at home, but the other sibling is not. It kind of is confusing and doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm just wondering what the process is in that and if it's really, like, if you should just keep your kids at home versus like send one and not send the other.
From what I understand, this question was raised in a previous workshop of household members. We had a teacher, same issue, where it was a couple, both teachers, one was quarantined and one was not, and they were concerned about the same issue. From my understanding, I guess it depends on how they had contact with the disease. The CDC, the local CDC, is looking at each individual situation and then contact tracing from there. So if they spend, I believe, anywhere 15 or more minutes within so many feet of a person who's contracted it in the social distancing seating chart, then they're asking them to quarantine. if they're showing no symptoms, I'm supposing that the siblings wouldn't have to be quarantined. Although I agree with you, it would make more sense if they did.
Yeah, I mean, because both of my kids are in the same school,
Right.
and I know multiple parents have kept their other sibling home who's at the same school. So it's kind of one of those gray areas that no one really talked about.
So it does have to do with the trace evidence. It does have to do with the time of exposure. I'm on the task force as well with the other teachers. So, and it is a little bit confusing. It's kind of hard to decipher, but I have a little bit more of the background just because of going through some of these drills over the summer. I kind of was a mystery to me too until I went through some of it. But there is some science behind, not quarantining everybody. I mean, I know we've had schools where they're like, well, if one classroom has, then they should just have everybody. But there are trace evidence that's involved in, who touches what for how long, who's exposed to what for how long. And so just like, Mrs. Kane said, it depends on who's in what room, what the exposure is, how many feet apart they were. And it doesn't necessarily mean because you have, two children in the same, school, they might not have the same teacher. It depends on who they were exposed to. There's a lot of mitigating factors and they literally take every single case into display, which is why, if one person, let's say an employee gets sick at a school, you may not receive a call for your child, but your neighbor may receive a call. It's happened to me 2 or 3 times at Carwise, because my child was not exposed. So my girlfriend's child was exposed twice within 3 weeks. So, I mean, it's kind of the luck of the draw.
Right. And I think, and I understand that 100%, but I think what the confusion would be at home. And granted, the school can't dictate what happens outside the school. And so I think that for parents and even, trying to give advice, that's kind of the gray area is, your kid is at home quarantined, but your other kids at home, they're like crossing paths in the bathroom and you know what I mean? So that's what the gray area was. It wasn't the school, it was more the home situation.
Yeah, I think the idea is, of course, if they are at home, that in a perfect world, which we don't live in, that they would have, their own bathroom, their own bedroom to be quarantined in. So that's the idea from the DOH and the CDC that they're thinking would be followed. So yeah. Okay. Suzanne, did you want? Your hand was up.
Yes, I have a follow-up question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I was wondering, I understand that the schools provide the Department of Health with the seating charts and, if the child was on the bus, et cetera. What is the turnaround time from the time that the school gets a report of a positive COVID case to when the Department of Health delivers to the school who needs to be quarantined?
This has been a varying time frame, and that has to do with the CDC. We are sending them as soon as we have that information. I know that, but I've heard different schools, including some that are near me, where this was not addressed anywhere for up to 10 to 14 days, which is a lot of time. So I know they are working to get the time frames down, but that has to do with their department and how quickly that they're doing the contact tracing, because there's so many more cases each day. And it does take quite a bit for them to do that. They have to go over each and every case. So that's something that's happening at the CDC, and sometimes taking, in my opinion, a bit too long, because if somebody has been exposed and then you're telling them 10 days later to quarantine, well, they've already been out and about for another 10 days, should they have contracted it, which doesn't make sense of their time frames for COVID.
Well, thank you for your work on this and for playing, such a vital role as a parent and as a school board member, because I do think it's of utmost importance, and I think the principals are getting frustrated because of the amount of time it's taking the Department of Health to notify them. And meanwhile, these kids that should be in quarantine are still in school. You know, so I don't know if there's something the school board could do with, you know, their medical, you know, the medical team you're working with to maybe talk to the Department of Health and see, is this the right avenue? Should Department of Health be deciding each and every case? Because as cases go up, you know, my concern is going to become longer time. And then what's the point, you know? So thank you again for
Something I will I'm going to write this down and try to raise it with Dr. Cho on Tuesday. We're going to see him Tuesday. He is coming to our workshop to discuss more information with the mask order and things, but we're going to be able to open up to questions directly to him, and that will be a nice opportunity to ask that, because that is something that's come up 2 or 3 times over the last month.
Okay, thanks so much.
Suzanne,
So much for that question. Thank you.
Suzanne, what school are you with?
I have, I'm the PTA president over at Eastlake High School.
Thank you.
And I have a student at Cypress Woods as well, and I was a previous board member there.
Okay, thanks. Rachel, your hand was up next.
Hello, hi. So I actually, along those same lines, and I'm gonna keep it short, but I'm gonna tell a short tale. So I worked with the school and the school board and Tracy to get my son to be able to have in-person therapy at the school in the front office conference room. My son has special needs, and of course, special needs classrooms are a little bit different. Kids have a harder time keeping their masks on and everything. And I also have, I have 2 goddaughters who go to our school, and one of them is in Evan's class. And her mom called me on, she started not feeling well on Wednesday, sent Danielle to school on Thursday. And then Danielle got sent home with allergies on Thursday afternoon. And on Friday morning, Nicole woke up and had no sense of taste or smell. She couldn't taste or smell, so that red flag, right? She's like, I gotta go get tested. And she was positive. They notified the school. The school said that they were presumptive positive and said that they would have to stay home. Her children would have to stay out of school until the 19th, which would be Monday. But they did nothing for the classroom that Danielle was in on Wednesday and Thursday. And had I not known Danielle, and the therapists had all gone through that classroom, had I not known Danielle, I would have brought my medically fragile child into school to meet with PT, OT, and speech therapists that had met with a child who was a presumptive positive. And like, had I not known, had I not known the family, I would not have known that. And then that still didn't get reported as a positive until the letter that was sent home this week. So that was almost a 12-day turnaround before the letter went home to parents. And it seems to me like it's a loophole, that there's a loophole with the presumptive positives of the positives of family members, and then the children who are quarantined for a presumptive positive, they're not being counted. And then I started digging a little bit, and this is not the only incidents where this has happened. Presumptive positive students have been asked to stay home by the school, by the school board, or the health team have been asked to stay home for I think it was 24 days or 14 days or something. Yeah, have been asked to stay home. But because the test isn't done, they're actually not counted in our numbers, and schools are not required to let the families or students in the classrooms know. And I'm talking about a special needs classroom, low functioning ASD classroom, where things are touched, masks aren't kept on, teachers are in close proximity, they have to help them with the restroom, have to help them wash their hands, have to help them with their lunch. So this is pretty close contact situation. And I just, as a parent, I was ready to send my kid back to school, like to get him off PCS online, because I know it's the right place for him. I know he'll learn better in that environment. He's struggling with PCS online. I can see that. I want to send all 3 of my kids back to school. But when I saw that happen, it kind of, I'm guarded. I'm like, do I make that leap? Because if this loophole is there, then how can we keep my son safe?
Absolutely. And I completely agree with that. I would be, what school was this?
McMullen Booth.
McMullen Booth. That's really concerning, because there's a higher risk there as well with all of those circumstances. And also, again, some of this turnaround time is going from our medical team to CDC and back to the parents. And I agree with you, that needs to be a more streamlined process. I know I got a false call for one of my kids because one of my kids is on my PCS, and they put in a seating chart with her name on it. So I got a call, and she wasn't even at school, and she was quarantine. So there's definitely a disconnect there, and I've heard anywhere from 10 days turnaround up to 14. I know there was a case in one of the schools, 14 days from positive case reporting to parents in those classrooms getting a phone call. And that's a huge problem for spread. It's a huge problem for people trying to keep their students safe and parents who are trying to keep them home.
And the letter you're getting at that point is a student in your child's class tested positive, but no further recommendations or quarantine is needed at this time. Well, of course it's not needed at that time because it's already been 14 days. So,
right.
You know, it's missing, like I said, there's a loophole there that's kind of missing. And I think a lot of it has to do with that presumptive positive, where you have a parent or a family member who lives close proximity with the student or the family, and then they're considered a presumptive positive. The school board is saying, and the health team is saying, you have to stay home for 24 days. But then because it's not a CDC positive, just a presumptive positive, it's not being counted in our classrooms. And like I said, when I started digging, I realized that the presumptive positives are actually have a higher frequency when you start asking about them.
Okay, so we clearly need to bridge that gap between that. Thank you, Rachel, for bringing that up. Bridget, I think you had your hand up next, Bridget, and I do need to know what school you're from, please.
I'm from Walsingham.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have a question about my PCS online PE. I need to know how I find out not to get my child sitting at a computer during PE class. How do I get her active? I don't want her to just do a Nearpod lesson. I want her to do actual physical education. How do I go about doing that?
What have you spoken with the PE teacher at your school?
Yes, they do Nearpod lessons instead of like PE. So they're sitting at a computer instead of like, you know, doing physical education like they would do at school. So is there any way that we can fix that? Even if we have to like sign waivers saying that we as parents will make sure our child does physical education instead of sitting at a computer doing a Nearpod lesson, because I don't want her sitting at a computer for 45 minutes while she should be doing physical education.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot.
I don't want her writing an essay, what she did for 45 minutes during PE. Like, she should be doing physical education. Right. So I would like to fix this. And a lot of my other friends who have children at the school would like to fix this. So is there any way that we can go about doing this, or can I talk to somebody else about going about fixing this?
I would say this is something that you might want to contact your principal about if you haven't. Have you talked to the principal about this?
I haven't. We've been out of state. The whole time. So
I would suggest talking to the principal about it, because if you've already talked to the PE coach and nothing's been done, I would go the next step, talk to the principal of the school and just discuss this, because sometimes the principals are left out of the loop, and they really are the ones who can make the changes like that in the specific educational coursework and what's being done with that specific teacher in that specific school. And I do think by far and large, all the parents I've spoken to feel that way about the MyPCS. If like my kids are sitting around too much too, and it's important for them to get up out of the computer and do something, or at least move, move their body a little bit. So yeah, I think I would speak to your principal and let the principal know that you've already spoken to the PE teacher, and you and multiple other parents are having the same concern, and you want more to be done in their PE time for the MyPCS.
I do know that a parent has spoken to the principal. She got put to the AP, and nothing was done.
Nothing was done.
So, yeah. So I just want to know if there's
the system. If that nothing is done with the AP and the principal, your next step would be the area superintendent.
Okay.
So you could go to the area superintendent, and if nothing gets done there, email me.
All right. I will definitely do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We don't have any other hands up at this time. We do have a presenter on the line that has a little bit of a window here that's limited. So Valerie, do do you have a few minutes that you want to speak to a couple of things real quick? I know you have another call.
I do. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that we were going to have such interesting other presenters. I'm definitely the most boring of the evening.
We're not done. We have more people too.
Oh, well, I assure you I am still the most boring.
I
Thank you,
don't
though, for the moment. My name is Valerie Licata, and I am a fellow PTA right next door in Hillsborough County. I'm the president at Lowry Elementary, and I serve on the County Council of Hillsborough County as VP of Leadership and Development. But I am here today to talk to you guys about Member Hub because that is my profession. So I also work for Member Hub, and we have a couple of new features that I just wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk about. Just a quick show of hands. Is everyone using Member Hub? All right. Oh, camera people are using it. All right. So as you may or may not know, there's a couple of new features with Member Hub in the upgraded store. So one that's really exciting is the free website. So if your school does not, if your PTA does not already have a public website, now through Member Hub, you can have a platform in order to do that, have a nice public website. And I'm going to pull up one now and share how cool it looks. I do not have time, I'm so sorry, to kind of go through how to do these things, but I'm just going to give you an idea of some things you can do. And then I'm going to put my meeting link in the chat, and you guys get to have access to me for free or any of my cohorts over at Member Hub. Because of our partnership with Florida PTAs, support is completely free as well. So let me go ahead and just quickly show you this really cool website. So this is actually a coworker of mine's website for her school in North Carolina. As you can see, it's just a nice public site, has some information about them, some information on how to connect with them on social media, allows you to feature products from your store. You can also have, I want to go to the wine tasting event, but they also have a couple, you get 6 pages plus your store. So you can see here, it pulls information from Member Hub. The calendar pulls from Member Hub. So if you're keeping your calendar in Member Hub, this is great as well. Talks about some of their passive fundraising, and then you can view the store. So this is just another free feature to use with Member Hub as part of your subscription through Florida PTA. One of the other new features in the store is our givebacks program and fundraising. So fundraising is what it sounds like in the traditional sense. Crowdfunding, raffles, auctions, a-thons, events, projects, all of those things that we're used to doing in person and on paper now can be done online and virtually through Member Hub. There is some cost involved, of course, but it is super cost effective for most PTAs. And if you are interested in hosting a online fundraiser this year, like I mentioned before, I will be putting my email and my meeting link in the chat, so you can reach out and we can discuss those things, because it's really a great option. I'm actually in the middle of my fundraiser for my PTA, and we're at almost $8,000. Woohoo! Very exciting. And it's been super smooth so far. And then lastly, and very excitedly, is our givebacks program. So has anybody ever used Groupon? It's a pretty common knowledge of what that is, right? It's a offer that you purchase as a consumer. You're usually getting it at a discount, and then you get to go use that in, some store, right? Or maybe a restaurant or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again just to give you guys an example. So we have a give back program, which is very similar to Groupon. Your members, your families are going to be able to make these purchases through your store and get a deal. It's a perk for them, right? But the best part of all is that you guys are going to get a give back. So one of the ones that I really love to talk about is this entertainment digital savings membership. This is that, remember those big coupon books? Has everybody ever done those fundraisers with like those big coupon books and you're ripping them out, and you know, you maybe paid $20 for them, and then the PTA gets to, you know, keep some money, but you forget about it. Well, now it's an app. And when your families or members or whomever purchase it, it's $20 for them, but then you get $10, which is huge, 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 huge. You know, if you sell 10, that's a lot of money. $100 that you didn't have before, right? Or yeah, I did the math right. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's been a long day. I served omelets at my school all day today. It's been a long day. So the Give Back program has lots of national offers as well as local offers. You can invite, I'm in the West Chase area, you can invite local businesses to be in your Give Back store.
Wes, just give me those headphones. I'll just stick this on.
Oops.
Was that a question? Nope. Okay. All right. So you can also invite people into your Give Back program, and Member Hub gives you $50 for every opportunity that you present that is turned into a deal. So for example, this is one of the ones that my PTA suggested. And since we suggested that Jazzercise would be a great offer for the Give Back program, and Jazzercise agreed and said, yes, we would love to support our schools and get new customers, we got a $50 incentive fee, or I'm sorry, incentive give back, plus anytime someone purchases it, we get $24. So it's a really great passive fundraiser. You have to do nothing. You're not filling orders. You're not doing anything except for accepting a couple of things in your store and giving your parents an opportunity to buy some things that are interesting to them. And we, like I mentioned before, there's tons of national offers and local offers coming soon, as well as you can invite businesses that you already have partnerships with. And again, I can go on and on and on and on and on about this, and in much more detail if you would like to reach out. Yes, thank you, Jessica. Givebacks are considered donations. It's just like Amazon Smile. You're sharing a platform, and then we as Member Hub are making that donation back to you. So it's just like Amazon Smile, so you don't have to consider it a fundraiser, and you don't have to you know, follow that 3-to-1 rule with it or anything like that. It is strictly a donation, so that's a really great point. Thank you, Jessica. And I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. Here is my meeting link. It takes you straight to my calendar for you to set a one-on-one. And then here is my email. And feel free to reach out even with just a simple question, or maybe a, hey, you know, I was looking to figure out how to do this. Can you point me in the right direction? I'm here for you. I'm local-ish. And yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so sorry that I rushed through. Is there any quick questions? I have a couple of, and I'm actually going to my county council meeting in 4 minutes. So is there any other, does anybody have like a quick question or want to know something?
Oh, if I would have known that, I would have just texted Frank and said, you're not able to.
And he'll be like, no. At least I think they need me.
I would have just said you were with a more important county. That's all.
There you go. There we go. We'll get some competition going.
Sorry,
I love it.
I had to.
Love it.
Frank's a good friend of mine, so I have to give him a hard time. All right. Well, thank you so much, Valerie, and I'm sorry that you had to wait for so long to.
Oh
take
gosh,
your
no!
turn,
I
but,
thought you guys had such great. I loved hearing from your school board member, and I loved hearing about your male engagement. Just an extra promotion. Frank is hosting a male engagement Zoom in next week. I think it's the 26th or the 27th. But if you go on Hillsborough County Council's Facebook page, you can see and you guys are all welcome. We love to share resources. Dr. Dre and Titus O'Neill will be on that Zoom. So if you guys have any other interest, do you have to choose which Give fax member can see. Yes, Rachel, you do, which is great because then you get to curate exactly what they see. And, you know, if you see something that you think is weird that your families would never like, then you don't have to add it. And if you see things, if you like everything, then add everything. So that's a great question.
It's super cool, you guys, and very easy to do. I highly recommend you reaching out to Valerie or Jessica if there's something you don't understand. But with us having Valerie, you know, at our fingertips and her working for Member Hub, we're very lucky and fortunate. So, but I will tell you that I've had my own crash course recently in Member Hub. Jessica, no comments. And so I've learned a lot, and it's a very useful tool. There's a lot of stuff that you can do on there that it's really great. So, and you might as well use it because we get to use it, you know, for free, basically, because Florida PTA takes care of it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, great. Thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much. Pinellas County is amazing. We love you. Okay, we'll talk to you guys soon.
We love you too.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. I do have one quick question before we go on. Gail, can you tell me what school you're with? And Edward. I have a phone that says Edward. I don't know if it's Edward, but it's showing as Edward. I also have 482-1350. What school are you with? Nothing? Okay. If I don't write it down, then your school doesn't get credit. So just so you know.
Wait. Was that me? I'm so sorry.
I don't know. Who are you?
The last 4 digits of 9924?
Yep.
Janet Perillo.
What is
it? Janet Perillo.
Janet. Okay, yes.
Hi. Yes, I don't know why. Why did I come up in numbers and not a picture?
I don't know. It's a phone number. But, and what school are you with?
Lellman Avenue Elementary in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yep.
Perfect.
I think I'd have that memorized by now. At some point, I will be able to look at your names and know. It's just
probably
a little bit of time. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
All right. So Gail, I still don't have your school. If you can put it in the chat for me. Okay. And then thank you, Edward.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're good. So now we need to hear from Reagan. Reagan is going to update us on some information about the referendum.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Christina, can you play my video to start? Would that be okay? I'm gonna start with the video that's straight off Pinellas County's webpage. It's only 2 minutes long, but it's cute and it's more entertaining than I am. So
that's not possible. All right, hang on just a second. I have dual monitors here, so this becomes kind of a which way am I sharing this kind of, anyway. You guys have to live inside my world, okay? It's a whole thing. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in here. Okay, so you have to pick the desktop. There we go, got it. Now hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Oh God, please don't let the sound not work again. This is too much pressure.
Click share sound before you click on.
I did. Can you hear it?
Yep.
I did it right this time.
Pinellas County residents are dedicated to supporting education. In 2004, they voted to approve the Pinellas County Schools referendum. Every 4 years, they reaffirmed that commitment. A renewal of the Pinellas County Schools referendum will be on the November 3rd ballot. Referendum funds strengthen reading, music, and art programs, provide up-to-date technology and textbooks, and help recruit and retain quality teachers. An independent committee oversees referendum spending. The referendum provides increased training, classroom libraries and literacy programs, and the latest technology. Referendum funds help students pursue their passion for music and the arts. Every penny of referendum funding supports Pinellas Public Schools. Referendum is a small price to pay for so much.
If you want to preview
The referendum
Get
will
ready to
be
talk.
on November 3rd ballot.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so just, obviously that cute little video, it would be great if you guys share that with your memberships. You can put it on Facebook, email it to members, but there's a few important key things here. One, this is not a new tax. This came in 2004. It is approximately $7.15 per month per household. So it is about $88 a year per household. 80% of it goes straight to our teachers, and it's over $4,000 in our teacher salary, which allows Pinellas County to recruit teachers, retain teachers, and they depend on this money. On top of that, every single dollar, there's no administrative cost to this. It goes straight into our classrooms, and I'll tell you just about some of the, the programs that it supports. So it buys additional art supplies for our students. It buys instruments, band uniforms, Mayan, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, our online reading program. It supports Canvas. They put smart boards in every single classroom in Pinellas County, and now they're on to the next phase of moving to interactive projectors in each classroom. It supplies classrooms with reading books, and then pre-pandemic, it did pay for a bunch of field trips to, to different museums throughout the county. And again, I just want to make sure that you know that this is not an additional tax, and it will be on the ballot this November 3rd. So I would urge you all to encourage everyone you know to vote yes for this, support our schools and our teachers. And also the money is overseen by an independent, oversight committee. So if there's any questions, let me know. I'm happy to share anything else with you.
Thank you, Reagan.
You're welcome.
So basically just vote yes. That's enough.
Yeah.
Please. Okay, for our children. Okay, so now we're going to have Terry Lynn, you can actually share if you want to. Pull your little report up. You have access to share. So Terry Lynn's going to do our treasurer report.
Okay, it's on my screen. Is it on yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. All right. So since our last meeting, we have taken in $87.74.38. The bulk of all of that is going to be in our, if this will quit change in sizes. Whoops, there you go. Little too crazy. Our membership dues and our OSO administrative dues. We did finally get a couple payments on the workshop, and then we did get our $1,000 donation that supported our platform to do the virtual meeting. So, and then we had some small administrative expenses, some shirts, our leadership development. We were, we were able to get one of our schools reactivated and give them every single penny back. Probably with 6 months to spare. So I'm so excited about that. So that's line number 28. That was Tyrone Middle. So our expenses was $23,1427, which gives us a bank balance of $66,100.98. Chris, I don't see where I could actually share the PDF if they wanted to download this somewhere on the side. I don't know if you could do that.
No, I mean, if they want information, they can email.
Yeah, they can email you. They can email treasurer@Pcc Pta, and I will gladly forward you guys the copy of this treasurer's report. So do I have any questions on this treasurer report? Chris, if you could look if there's any hands or anybody raising their hand to have a question.
I do not have any. Wait, hold on. Rachel, did you still have your hand up, or is that new?
I'll scroll up again. So if anybody has any, let me see if I can make it a little small without making it too small. I don't think I'm gonna get the whole thing on the screen. But
yeah, there's no questions. So
okay, so since there's no questions, we're gonna go ahead and file it as presented. And I'm gonna stop sharing. Thanks, guys.
all right, Jessica, you're up.
Do you want me to share the bylaws?
Yep, sure.
Okay, hold on, I gotta pull them up.
There's only one item, so.
Okay. Hi, Jessica Summers, current role of bylaws chair. All right, I'm going to share my screen.
Who doesn't know who you are? Are there people that don't? I mean, come on.
I don't know. I have many roles. So, okay. So at last general meeting, we presented the proposed changes to the bylaws. I'm going to share them again tonight, and then they will be voted on at November's general meeting, because you have to have the 30-day notice, and we're like 2 days shy. So just pushed it to November, but it gives all of you guys a chance to see what it is that the bylaws committee is proposing, and that the board did approve to move forward to general membership. So the main changes, and scroll to it. Sorry. All right, so the main change that we are proposing is that currently the county council officers serve 1 year at a time and can be reelected for up to a total of 3. The recommendation is that elected officers shall be able to serve no more than 1 2-year term in the same office until the expiration of at least 1 term, and they would be elected in odd years. So that would mean that whoever the next set of officers in April at that meeting, they would serve, if this passes, they would serve for a 1 2-year term. So that is the update. We made the updates everywhere that it mentions the elections, that the official installation would be April, May of odd years, again, sticking with that 2-year. So they'd go 2021 until 2023 and then continue forward from there. The nominating committee, currently it says 3 or 5 members. The bylaws committee, the proposal is that it'll be 5 members and 2 alternates. So at the meeting where the nominating committee is elected, there would be a total of 7 people elected, with 2 of them being alternates. So if something happens, you'd have somebody who could step in and take over one of those spots if one of the members wasn't able to fill the job. For when the slate is posted, it gets posted, email, website, all of that. We just specified that it would be posted on all available platforms. And then nominations made from the floor the deadline would be 2 weeks after the slate is posted. So if the slate is posted in February, then 2 weeks after that would be when the deadline would be to run from the floor. Where we just added the odd years to make everything consistent throughout the document. I believe, yes, that is all. Anybody have any questions about that? And again, they'll be voted on at the November general membership meeting.
Thank you. I'm going to screen share now real quick and just show you guys. I know we're doing this a little backwards. I do apologize, but I did have to respect our speakers' time. Speakers' times. Anyway, if you guys can just take a look here, I don't want to read through this, but if you guys can just take a look at the minutes and let me know if you see any corrections that might be needed. Normally these would be presented by Ashley, but she has an excused absence for this evening. So.
Remember how the H is capital.
Thank you. Anything else from anyone? And I'll have that correction made. Okay, so I don't see anybody else. Okay, so I will go ahead and hang on. I will go ahead and file these as corrected, and I will get that correction made. I think I have everyone's school. That's a whole nother, that's like its own job, by the way, just taking the role, okay? Forget everything else. I gotta learn to write faster or something, I don't know, maybe shorthand. Go back to, I just dated myself, didn't I? There's half of you guys on this call don't even know what shorthand is. Okay, so Edeline's smiling at me because she knows. Okay, so I was going to let you guys know our next meeting will be, let's see, November 19th. And we do have a speaker, Mr. Mack is going to be speaking. I've been told he's amazing. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. I'm excited. So be here because you'll want to find out too. And I guess anybody have any questions or anything that they want to mention before we? Yes, Adeline?
Just a quick note. Please be on the lookout for future communications. We have some exciting trainings planned for you guys.
Yes. You're setting the bar high when you say exciting, though. I mean, come on. It's not, you know.
You have to.
Maybe we'll sing, maybe we'll dance. You never know. It could get crazy. Yes, we do. We are putting together some stuff. We do recognize that there, amongst the questions that we receive, we're trying to put together some items that we see repeatedly so that we can do some trainings that we think might make sense. And we have discussed it, that Adeline and I had a meeting about it, and we did discuss that we think that having these, you know, some in the evenings and some maybe, oh look, the cat wants to weigh in too, some in the evenings and some maybe even like during the day, so that maybe, you know, when your kids are gone or studying online in another room, you can, you know, attend a little training. So we're trying to make it convenient for everybody. And then of course we can always record stuff and post it. So anyway, no worries, Jeff. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. And this is recorded. I will post this call. That's not true. I won't, Julianne will, but anyway, but I do have it. So we will put it up for anybody who needs to view it. And then we do have everybody listed that was here, so we will make sure and make note of that. All right.
Thank you.
Any other hands? So I think, thank you so much, guys, for coming. We appreciate your time. I know that it is very valuable. Ro, did you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, I kind of want to speak on Mr. Mack real quick. So Chancellor Mack is with the Florida Department of Education. He's going to come next month and talk about the CARES Act. So those of you that are looking for alternative scholarships and options for those that want to go into careers such as firefighting or HVAC, or you have a student that is in high school right now, make sure you guys come and tell your friends to come, so you can get some great information, because they have programs out there that will cover the cost or partial cost of that for the certificates. So make sure that for yours, you're here next month, because he was awesome. We got to talk to him at Florida PTA convention, and I cannot wait for him to come. I learned so much. I hope you guys enjoy him as much as I do.
And even for you people who don't have kids in high school yet, it's never too early to prepare. Let me just tell you, as someone who has a son in college and a daughter who graduates this year, trust me, prepare early, believe me. It's expensive. Rachel, you have your hand up.
Yes, I did. Hi. So I had my hand up. This time I meant to have my hand up.
Okay.
So I am, along with being the school board liaison, I am the literacy chair for PCC Pta. And we have a JWB literacy grant that we are partnered with some of our community stakeholders like our club and whatnot on. And I've had a little bit of difficulty with the transition from last year's team to this year's team. Don't need to go into that. However, I am looking for 3 individuals, one who maybe is in North County, maybe Mid County, and maybe South County, who would be interested in learning more about the grant and maybe serving on the committee. So this is just sort of a call out. If you guys know anyone in your local units who might be interested, or if you're interested, I would be happy to hear from you, and you can reach me at literacy@pccpta.org and send me an email.
Okay, thank you. So anybody who wants to get involved, email Rachel. Jessica?
Hello. So I'm going to play a different role now.
Oh God, here she goes, moving her titles around. Go ahead.
So I am the Health and Safety Chair for County Council. And we do have a health and safety event that we will be putting on in February. Not sure what that's going to look like, but we will have something. And I'm looking for anybody who is interested in being a part of the committee. And for those of you who are on this call that don't know it yet, I've already put you on the committee. I'll be reaching out to you. But we'd love to have more the merrier. I know y'all are laughing at me. Just wait, you may be called.
That's how I got here. That's just so you guys know.
It is. That's exactly how Christina got here. But you can email me at healthandsafety@pccpta.org or membership of Florida PTA or bylaws. Pick an email. I will respond. I have lots of them. But yes, if you're interested, we'd love to have you. Okay. I'll shut up now.
Yeah, we're going to need a lot of volunteers for that. I mean, it's highly possible that we'll be looking at each other here on Zoom for our health and safety fair. Who knows? But that's okay. We might still need volunteers. Okay. Della, did I get your school? And maybe I did. I apologize if I did, and I just...
Hi, I'm with Anona Elementary.
Nope, I did not get. Thank you.
No problem. Thank
Hey,
you.
Chris, I have a suggestion.
Yes.
Maybe. A suggestion maybe. And I don't know if this would work in your platform or be allowed, but what about doing a form that you could post a link to where people could put the school that they're from and their name?
Yeah, no, I could do that. The problem is that not everybody sees the link and not everybody gets it. And then when the meeting's gone, it's gone. So there's no way for me to go back and see, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Once it's gone, I don't know who was on here and who wasn't. So in order to do this in real time, I actually have to make sure that if you're showing on my screen, I've gotten your name or number.
So what about in the chat, if when we logged in, we all put the school?
That's what people are doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
and
what
then that way throughout the thing, you could get
the problem is that if some people have logged in 15 minutes after the call started or 5 minutes after the call started, they don't know to put it in the chat. So sometimes I have to call out and say, hey, if I don't have your school, you know, but I only had to do that with about 6 people. Last time I had to do it with like 20. So it's gotten better. Yeah. But yeah, when you log in, just stick your school name on there and then we'll know right away who you're with. But that way I can go down the list and mark you off as I go.
So. Well, and that's good to pass on throughout the board members also. So we can pass that through. I'll pass that through our board.
Thank you. Oh, good. Okay, Lithia just volunteered herself, Jessica. All right.
I just let her know that she was one of the people I'd already volunteered. So
there, doesn't matter. See. And then Barbara, I know you are with Eliza Nelson, correct? I think so. I'm pretty sure she is. Anyway, okay. I'm almost positive. Yeah. I can email her later. But anyway, okay, so we're good. I think, Ro, do you want to go ahead and?
All right, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:51.
Thanks, guys. I know we went a little over. I apologize.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you.